Hey everybody, welcome back to another Judgment commentary of Koimonogatari, but today, I'm going to be checking out episode 3. But last time in episode 2, Best Girl Kaiki's arc continued on strong, with him starting things off investigating a bit, because he did accept Senjigahara's request to try to trick Nadeko into not killing everybody. And he started off by just looking into Nadeko a bit, try to get some information. He went to her house, asked her parents a few things, but they didn't know much because really they didn't know their daughter at all, but to be fair, nobody really knew Nadeko. Not even Nadeko. But that's beside the point. The point is that he didn't learn much from Nadeko's parents, but he did learn a surprising amount just by looking at pictures of her. Just by how she appeared in the pictures, he was able to put together, the fact that she was kind of forced into being cute, in the way that being cute was all she had. He also tried to look inside of her closet, but her parents acted like bouncers in that case, keeping him out of it because apparently she's got something really deep and mysterious in there. Easily one of the most mysterious things in this entire series, right up there with Ogi. I mean, who knows what the frick is in there? Dead body? Love shrine? Skeletons? Who knows? Afterwards, he actually went up to Nadeko's shrine and had a little conversation with her. He offered up some money, she jumped out at him, and she was shocked that he didn't run away because apparently other people have come up to try to give worship to her, but every time she popped out, they would just get scared and run off because of course they would. Who the heck wouldn't run off? If you go up to give worship to a god, would you actually expect them to just pop out at you? Probably not. And because of this, Kaiki actually has a pretty good position here because he has positioned himself as her first loyal worshiper of sorts, It gives him a place where he can chat with her casually, maybe try to stealthily get some information from her, and get some ethos, perhaps, so that he can maybe convince her. Can't say for sure, but I did find it interesting about Nadeko's personality now. It is a whole different side of her than what we usually see. She's not that, shy, reserved kind of girl that we saw before, or even just the loud, rude, angry one that we saw briefly. She's more open and outgoing and expressive than she ever was before. And it makes sense that now that she has become a god that she would start to act this way, especially since she's just subconsciously burying all the horrible things that happened to her and all the horrible things that she's done. But hey, once you're a god, you don't have to worry as much about expectations being placed on you. Because you're a god, you can do whatever the heck you want. So far, Kaiki has easily been the most unique narrator choice that we've had because so far he's the only one who's been, an adult and not just a teenager. He's the only one who's got his life somewhat figured out, and he's very pessimistic too, and of course, a bit of a liar on occasion, so it's a very unique vibe compared to everybody else when it comes to narrators, but anyway, let us just get into episode 3. So, fascinating. Kaiki came up with a good plan, a very solid one to try to trick Nadeko because that's the thing about her, is that I had already figured out that in some ways she would be easy to trick, and in others she wouldn't be because it's like she's immature and gullible, and like he said, that she hasn't had much experience with malice all too much. It's not like she's been entirely separated from malice. I mean them trying to cast that charm on her was pretty malicious, so I wouldn't say she's never experienced it, but she would be difficult to trick in another way in that she's so crazy. Even Kaiki hadn't fully realized just how broken her mind was until right there near the end. She's a wild card. You don't know what to expect from her necessarily. If he tries to trick her and it doesn't work by some stretch, well, he'd be dead. And who knows what else she would do. But I guess his plan to tell her that Araragi and Senjigahara were killed in like an accident, like a traffic accident specifically, would be a good one. That's a good idea, but it does have some holes in that she could call him on that bluff and try to confirm it. He doesn't think that she would, but she might anyway, and there is another hole that he doesn't know about that would put a damper on this if Nadeko thought about it, in that if Araragi were to be killed, but not Shinobu, she would, retain her full power, she'd get it back and then destroy the world. And Senjugahara told her that, so if she thought of it, that would kind of be a red flag to her. Unless somehow Araragi, Shinobu, and Senjugahara were all killed simultaneously by the same thing, which I guess could happen. Whether or not Nadeko even remembers that killing Araragi before killing Shinobu would result in that, I'm not sure. The status of her memories is, it's up in the air. I'm not sure if she's keeping that in mind, but I feel like she probably is, because Senjugahara pointed that out to her pretty blatantly, and she seemed receptive to it, so if she does remember that, and Kaiki does try to say that Araragi's dead, he'd have to try to say that Shinobu's dead too. But he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that if Araragi dies, that would happen with Shinobu. He doesn't even know that she exists. He might. Ononoki did mention her to him right there, but though that was as her former name. Who knows? That is something that would theoretically have to come up if he wants to try that, but besides that, there was an interesting thing dropped by Ononoki, and that was that apparently Gaien wanted to make her a god again. She wanted to make Shinobu a god once more. It'd be a little harder now, unless she was at her full power again, but if she were to be at her full power again, she'd likely also go crazy, so that's not much of a good thing, but that's weird. Why would she want her to be a god? Because that wouldn't really work out. It was her being believed to be a god that, summoned forth the darkness that nearly consumed her and consumed everything else around her, so if she became a god again, the same thing would just happen again? But she said the plans were disrupted by Nadeko being a god, which is interesting. This would imply that whatever she had in mind wasn't specific to Shinobu, she just needed somebody to be a god. And in this case, Nadeko's filling that role. Yeah, don't know what Gaien is planning here, but I guess we'll have to find out another time. And yeah, Gaien was very adamant that Kaiki bail from this mission. She thought that while he was capable of succeeding, if on the slight chance that he failed, the consequences of that would be catastrophic. It would be too great of a risk, apparently, even though he has a high chance of success, according to her. She was willing to pay him 3 million yen for the job. And she also said that if he were to refuse and keep going anyway, that she would no longer be his senpai. That's heavy, man. Which, of course, he decides to do the Kaiki move and say he's gonna bail, take the money, and then do it anyway. That's classic Kaiki. If he has the option to get money and keep doing what he wants, you know he's gonna pick that one. I'd also like to point out a detail that I noticed but I didn't have a chance to mention, that in Kaiki's hotel room there was like a fish tank behind him. I don't know why there's fish everywhere, man. What does that have to do with anything? I mean, the arc is called Koimonogatari, but not sure where that comes into play yet. Oh well, for now, we're only halfway there through the arc. We still got another 3 episodes to go, 4, 5, and 6. Can't wait to see what we get into there. Kaiki seemed to be preparing for the final stretch here, doing his 100 visits with her. We're obviously not going to see all of those, but I'm sure we'll get the highlights. And for now, I think that's all I have to say on the matter, so thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed, subscribe to be updated on more. That would be great. Let me know what you thought of the episode as well. Some more insights you can provide. That would be great. Got a lot of good ones last time that I looked over. Really fascinating things in there. Such as pointing out that the last episode, according to you, had the least amount of fan service, which is funny because Nadeko happened to be in it. But really, just this entire arc so far has been devoid of it. And even a lot of second season has had its moments where there's been not much. And that's, funnily enough, for the arcs that didn't have Araragi as the narrator. Which makes perfect sense. It further cements the idea that the reason there are fan servicey moments is just because it's from Araragi's point of view. Because when it's not from his point of view, the fan servicey stuff is less apparent. Not non-existent, but less apparent. There was still one moment in Koimonogatari White that we shall not forget. But still, it's a cool detail, and I can't wait to see what else this arc has to provide for us. It being the longest is really keeping my brain moving, because I know there's so much more that we can still see. Because usually these arcs are like 4 episodes long, or at most 5, but with it being 6, just really complicates things. But anyway, like I said, that's it. So till we meet again, I will see you guys later.